Right, hey guys, welcome back to Lee Slotcars for part 2 of the epic foam board build. So if you remember on part 1, I had done the shell of the building. I'd got some bit of detail on the front and I had the roof cut out. I was going to do more, but I thought 20 minutes is enough for part 1. So part 2, I'm going to be putting the trim around the roof and giving it a base coat of paint, and we'll see how it goes from there. But another 20 minutes-ish worth to come. You can't wait. Watch this space. There you go. So the roof has been done. I've put the trim around the roof. So the first section of this build, which is sort of the bridge come entertainment centre, is coming along nicely. The next thing I need to do is mix up some paint. Now I'm going to go for a slightly version of this. This is sort of, it doesn't show up on the camera especially well, but it's got a real bluey hint to it. I really like the colour, but I just want it to be lifted slightly so it's not so dark. So I'm going to do that sort of colour with just a bit more white to lighten it up a bit. I'm going to give the whole of the base a coat of that apart from the front. I'm going to leave that white because I'm going to be sticking decals on that, you know, this sort of thing, because I think it looks really effective. So I'm going to leave this bit white. Might leave this bit white as well, but we'll see. Everything can be changed. So now I'm going to mix up the paint and get painting. Right, okay, this is the colour I'm going to go with. It's reflected in the light, so it looks a bit shiny, but yeah, a nice colour grey. It's just toned down a little bit from the grey that I had before. So yeah, a little bit more white seems to have done the trick. So that's the colour I'm going to be using for the base coat. I've masked off this bottom section because I want to be keeping this white, but the rest of it is all going to be done in grey. And the bottom, yeah, probably the bottom actually, while I've got the paint out and the brush. So I'm going to crack on now. Which brush shall we use? Sport for choice a little bit. I've been sort of spending a bit of money on brushes lately. I think this one will do. Nice flat head, should do the trick. So it'll need a few coats because this always goes a bit patchy because of the shiny surface of the foam board, but give it a nice thick coat. What I tend to do after that is go over it with a hair dryer just to speed up the process a bit, because I don't want to be sitting here all day waiting for it to dry before I do the next coat. So I think in terms of colour, yeah, I like that. This is going to work. I'm not going to sit here and film me painting this whole thing because you'll die of boredom. So I'll come back when I've painted this. Right, it's had one coat of paint. Really happy with the colour. So now I'm going to get the hairdryer out. You've noticed I haven't got a lot of hair, so it's not mine, I have to say. I've stolen the wife's hairdryer. But anyway, I'm going to dry this off and give it another coat and we'll see what it looks like. Right, so we've had 2 coats. Let's just remove the masking tape. Has taken the annoyingly the front coat off the foam board, but it's not the end of the world because, like I say, I'm going to be putting decals over this, so this will all be hidden. But the colour is spot on. It's not quite dry, it's nearly dry. Went over it with a hairdryer, so I'm just going to leave it for a second now and get the roof painted. So that's the roof all painted, and if we turn it around, it is starting to take shape. I decided not to keep this bit white. I think it just looked too white and stripy if I kept that there, so I'm going to keep this as it is. This will need another coat. There's a few patchy bits, but it's not awful. It's dry, so I can do that. It'll take 2 minutes. Then I need to decide about the highlight colours. Oops. And the highlight is, there's not going to be a lot, but it's just going to be these supports here. Now, oh God, that bit's not dry, covered in paint. So rather than just putting it straight on, I'm just going to cut a bit of foam board similar to this, paint it grey, and then try it with the orange to see how it looks. Right, so I've mixed up some orange, which was a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow, and I've got painted that bit grey in the same colour. I'm just going to paint this orange and just a bit it's a bit opaque. I might need to do too close on this actually, because I want it to resemble what the actual building would look like. So okay, no, I think that'll do. I think I'll get an idea from that of what's going on. I think this is going to work. I think this might actually work because there's not going to be a lot of orange. I'm going to get covered in paint now, but that's fine. I'll take one for the cause, and I'm going to get a mucky scalpel blade as well. I've lost my thread now. Yeah, because there's not going to be a lot of this on the actual building. It's just going to be just some sort of accents, really, you know, just something to take away from the dull grey colour, just something to lift it a little bit. So, oh, really isn't covering too well, considering the bits that are going to be orange I have painted grey first. Actually, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with the orange, see what it looks like. Like I said before, worst case scenario, if I don't like it, I can paint over. I'm just going to see how this orange paint covers over the grey, because it will probably darken it a bit. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So that's probably going to need a few coats of orange, but it's fine. It's fine. I might even do a coat of white over it first, just to lighten it up. Okay, that's the plan. It's going to be orange. So I'm going to get those orange sections painted up and we'll see how it looks. Right, here we are. So far, so good. Got these painted in orange. They do need another coat, but for now it's fine. I've put the decals on the bottom. Really makes a difference once you've popped those on. So the building is coming alive at last. I think I'm going to put some like grids going across here at some point, maybe in a slightly darker grey. I don't know, but they're things that I can fine tune the build with as I go along. So am I calling this top bit done for now? I think I probably am, apart from a couple of another coat excuse me, on the orange. I think this top bit is done. I now need to start working on the bottom section, which I may well split into another video, or I may tag the first bit onto this. Who knows? I don't know how long I've been waffling on for, so we'll have to review that. So yeah, coming along nicely. So right, let's have a look at the base section now. Now I haven't really paid much attention to this. It actually looks like a narrow boat, doesn't it, or a barge or something, but I don't think that would work as a barge on the layout. Things I do know, right, this is going to be like a decked terrace viewing area, so I'm going to score along here so it looks like they're planks of wood. So that'll be easy, just straight lines with a scalpel, maybe little bits in between. I don't know, that might be too fiddly. When that's done, I'm going to use these cocktail sticks because they actually stick in quite firmly without any glue, and trim them to about here, pop those around, and then I got some new curtain, or a new curtain pole the other day, and you know the plastic that it comes in, the plastic tube, perfect for using glass, using as glass. So I'm going to put that on the top building that I've just built, you know, on the window there, and then I'm going to cut it to form like a glass barrier. I don't know what you call it, but that's what I'm going to call it. This is going to be painted so it looks like wood. So you put like I tend to use like a yellow ochre colour first of all, and then get a really sort of light brown wash and go over it, and it looks really effective. It actually comes out looking a little bit like timber. So that's going to be this section here. That's easy to do. Might keep this bit white with decals on it on both sides. This I'm going to paint grey, completely grey to start off with, because until I've got the base colours in, I don't know how it's going to look. So I'm not going to paint this, I'm not going to paint this. I'm going to paint this, all this section here grey, but I think there probably just needs to be a small bit of orange on it just to tie it in with the bridge section. Maybe just this front panel here. Maybe I can just cut out a piece when it's painted, because this looks a bit untidy anyway. Cut out a piece this size, paint it orange, stick it on, and I think that'll look good. The roof looks a bit too square, so I might curve that round a little bit. I'm not sure yet. But once again, you know, these builds evolve as you do them. I never set out with a plan of what it's going to look like. They just evolve. So I'm going to paint this grey, get that done. And then I think I might call it a day, because I've got a few other bits and bobs to do. So let's see how this looks when it's painted grey. That's the coat of grey on the end there. So that's all painted. That's had a couple of coats. And what I've done, if you can see it on the screen, yes you can, I've just scored the deck section. I'm not going to do cross bits because it'll take forever and it's really hard to actually get between the lines. So I'm going to keep it as long plank. So I'm going to give it a coat of yellow ochre, let that dry. Then I'm going to put a brown wash on it, and well, let's see what it looks like. Right, I am going to call it a day on the build so far, the epic foam board build, and this is what we've got today. So we've got the orange fronts, which I think looks sharp. I've put a little orange block on there, which looks a lot better. It needs another coat of grey, which is fine. I want that to be completely dry before I move on. And the deck has been painted. Looks a bit oak effect, doesn't it? And the decals put around the side. Holes placed in for the supports for the glass barrier, whatever it's called. That's going to go in there. So that's all for another day. So for today, and probably this part 2 of the build, I would say is pretty much completed. The next step is going to be putting like a door, pillars down, something leading off here, windows in the side here, and just a bit of detail, a bit of fine tuning, putting the barrier there, putting some chairs on there, a door in there, and a few people sitting there having a beer and a cup of tea. What could be better? So I think we're going to call that a wrap, and I hope you've enjoyed part 2, and part 3, well, that might be a while away because I've got quite a lot on over the next couple of days. But thanks for watching, guys. You all take care, my friends. Bye bye now.